Hi everyone, this is Mahendra here back again with my new session, and in this session I would be giving you the background of or how to use different data sets. And in my previous session I had given the ground of let me share my screen first. So what I had detailed in my, if you have just been through my previous sessions, if you haven't subscribed my channel Python Guru, then please do that. Kindly subscribe my channel, and if you can hit the like button if you haven't. And if you have any suggestions, then kindly put your suggestion or queries in the comment section. I would be happy to answer that. And if you have any advice or any suggestions, what you would like me to apply in my videos or in my session, I would happy to follow that. So here, I think you can see my screen. Let me 1 second. Yes. One second. Let me share my screen. Yeah. So what I was talking about, so these are the multiple things what I have been through in my previous session, like the data type, numbers, variable assignment, list, different type of list, accessing the indexing system, then which is the number which are in your collection, how to access, how to modify the list, how to append the list, and accessing the different system based on indexing system, nested listing, how to address different nested elements, and in dictionaries how the key pair works, and how each element in dictionaries get paired with one key, and accessing particular key, how to identify these are the keys, and the comparison operators, tuples, and what are the limitations of tuples, and if you cannot modify the positioning of particular element, those and sets, and unique representation, and unique the collection of unique elements, displaying the collection of unique elements in sets, comparison operators, and logical operators. No, those all things I have discussed in my previous session. So here I would be discussing about if and else, and these are the conditional statements. I think if you have done the programming, then you must be having the idea about how does this conditional statement works. In these conditional statements, like if either of the condition gets satisfied, then your the statement which is inside the condition gets executed, right? And that depends on which particular operator you have used based on the operators, and few conditions which are operators driven, like for example, if I have given 1 is greater than 2, or 2 equal to 2 and 3 equal to 3, meaning the first, this condition is supposed to be true, right? And the both conditions should be true, then only this one and this one. Out of this, if one condition is true, then in that case it is going to be print true. But here one is this condition is true, right? So it's supposed to be given true. It's supposed to print so it is already printed. So as one of the statement which is true, one of the condition which is given which is true. Here in the second statement, 1 is greater than 2 and 2 equal to 2 and 3 equal to 3, meaning all the statement which is there in the all the statement or all the condition which is given, that's supposed to be true. If it is not true, then in that case it's not going to be executed. So 1 is greater than 2, that's false, right? So it's not going to perform any action. If I try executing that shift enter, it didn't perform any action, meaning like all the conditions are not true. Out of that, among all the condition, one other condition is not true. So that is why it hasn't printed the value. Here 1 is greater than 2, again the same action. It is not going to print anything because the statement is false. Here, once we there are certain situations where if one condition is not true, then what is the next action? What is the next immediate action your program has to perform? Like, and so we add that condition in else part. If this is not true, if this is not satisfied or the condition is not been met, then what is the next action? So then this statement will be executed in the else part. So I is less than 2, that's correct. So it is going to print the first, the first statement, which is just immediate to the condition. In case if it is not, 1 is greater than 2, then in that case it is going to print last, which is in else part, right? So that is how it works. So F and else. Let's go for another condition. The best example. Here we have 1 equal to, if 1 equal to 2, is the 1 equal to 2? It's incorrect, right? If 1 equal to 2, then in that case it's going to print a plus b. But 1 equal to 2 is not correct, then it will go for the second statement. This is called the nested else, nested condition, nested conditional statement, meaning the multiple statement you have coded, multiple statement, the condition inside condition, that is called the nested condition. So you must be knowing who has done the programming in that. It is the nested if and else. Like, once that one condition gets satisfied, then only it will go for the next condition. If the second condition gets satisfied, then it will go for the third condition. So likewise, in the same pattern, like the first condition is not satisfied, then it will go for the second condition. Second condition is not satisfied, then go for the third condition. For third condition is also not satisfied, then it will go for the else part. Like, all the conditions are not met. So then in that case, it's going to print the last statement. So, and the last statement is last. So I'm going to execute that and it will print last, right? Suppose if I print here 4. Now if I try executing that, and meaning one of the condition is got satisfied, then it will print the condition which got satisfied, right? So that is how it works. Like if I add here 3 equal to 3 and 4 equal to 5. So then this condition is being met, then the second it's supposed to be printed. So it got printed here. So that is how the conditional statement works in Python. Python or all the programming languages, but specifically in Python, it is mentioned as ELIF. But most of the programming language, it is mentioned as a else, ELSE, else for, and else if, like in your C, C++ and all, it is mentioned like that. So now we go for, so that is how the conditional statement works. So any doubt around on the conditional statement, how to put the nested condition? I hope most of the doubts in your conditional statement, putting conditional statement across or the nested condition might have been clear. Still, if you have any doubt, you can just mail me out and you can put your questions in the comment section. So I would be happy to answer that. If you haven't subscribed my channel, kindly subscribe that. Now we'll move for loops. So in the programming, we have multiple types of loops: for loops, while loop, do while loops. Likewise, we have multiple. So what are the loops basically, right? So basically, when you have, suppose if you have a data type, some kind of list data set, which is suppose list is that data type we are using, or we have array, and if you have to access each element in your array, then how do you access that? So in order to traverse each index in your index or in your collection of elements in your data types, in your data or in your list, then in that case we can use the loop. So how does the loop works? Like, we need to specify one variable which is going to traverse across the elements based on the condition given, and it will be performing the action the way you have given the condition. So if you have, so in order to traverse across the list or across your across collection, we need to specify one variable that should be in incremental order, and we need to increment that. So that is how. So here we have one element, one variable sequence. In that we have assigned 4 values, right? So this is a kind of list. In your list, 4 elements are there: 1 2 3 integer and 1 string. So if for item in the sequence. Item is the variable which is going to access each element in your list. So item, the first value for the item is 1, the second value 2, third value is 3, and the fourth one is hello. If we try printing that the item, then in case of item, it is going to print all the values in, that is how it is printed here, right? You can see. So that is how it works. The item is one of the variable. It's a variable which is going to access each element in your collection or in your list. So 1, 2, 3, hello. That is how it has been printed here. So we move to the next. For item in the sequence. In the sequence, we had few variables, few collections, right? In the collection, print here, like it will be accessing each element. Like suppose if you have 10 element, then in that gate, the yep is going to be printed 10 times. So as of now, we have 4 elements in our listing or in list. So it's going to print 4 times, right? So 4 times it has been printed here. Now, if we go for sequence, if you go for the sequence, in the sequence, what happens? Again, you have 4 elements, and for jelly is the verb, is the variable which is going to access each element in your sequence. So very first, and the value for the jelly would be 1. So here in the print statement, we have added the, like, the first time once it accesses, the value for the jelly would be 1. So 1 plus 5, 6 will be printed, right? So in the same way, till 3, 4 times it has been printed. Once 4 times it tried to, for 1, 2, 3, 4 times when it tried to read that, here the jelly would be, so the value is not numeric, right, in your sequence variable. So then in that case, how that value, how that this hello, that string value can be added in your numeric, your integer value. So then in that case it will be hitting some kind of error, like some data type error, or a string integer related, some error it is going to be thrown. So like it is not able to access, like it must be string or not integer. That is how it has given the error. So I hope you got it. Like the jelly is going to access this is the variable which is going to access each element in your list till 3, because this is the numeric and can be added, 1 plus 5, 2 plus 5, 3 plus 5. That is how it has been added. And once it gets the string, then in that case a string cannot be added in your numeric or integer value. That is why it is thrown here. So let's go for this, one of the best example. Like here you can understand better, is, again we define one listing. In that, C is the variable which we have initialized, or the value which has been assigned here is 0. For B in A, so B is the variable which is going to access each element in your list. So here, once it accesses, the B value would be in the first time, in the first run, the first execution, the B value would be 10. That is how, so C equal to, that is how the C equal to 1, B equal to 10, and the third statement is going to print it. So one thing I would like to tell you, in what happens, like if you work for Java and all in other programming languages, there, if your indentation is not correct, like curly braces or something which is not in order, then in that case your code gets executed. But in Python it's not like that. It's kind of like it is indentation driven or something, kind of programming language, in that you must your code must be aligned. And as soon as, like for example, if I click here, suppose for example, if I have to, I hit enter, so your cursor will be directly going there where the next statement you have to write, right? So that is how it works. You cannot simply indent. You have to keep in mind the indentation while you work for Python, while you work in Python. So it's not like in Java and all that, if you close the curly braces here and there, the positioning or the column number or something doesn't matter. But here in Python it matters. Like sometimes it doesn't throw the error even, but the expected output will not be. Then in that case it is very difficult to analyze. So you just keep in mind, once you execute the code in Python, your indentation must be correct. Then in that case you won't be having any challenge in terms of, if you are writing the lengthy programs, then you won't be having any challenges in terms of debugging or something, right? So that is how the value is printed here. So if and else, the entire structure, the for loop has been executed completely, and at last, once your entire for loop gets over, then the last statement it is executed once, right? So that is how the for loop works here. Like in one variable you have to define that, and that one variable is going to put the value in incremental order, and I'm going to access each element in your listing or in your collection of elements, right? Or in array, whatever the way you have defined. uh, and then you go for the while loops. In while loop, what happens in the starting itself, you specify the condition until the condition gets satisfied. The statement which is given just after the condition, that gets executed, and it just keep executing till the condition gets satisfied. So here I value we have defined 1, and I is less than 5. So I value and next statement print and I is being incremented. Like everywhere where the looping comes into picture, there you have to just keep incrementing the value, right? So once we talk about I plus 1, meaning I equal to 1, so next time the I value would be 2, right? So very simple. Here I equal to 1, I equal to 1, I less than 5, I equal to 1, I is less than 5. So it will just print I is, I meaning 1. So I is I plus plus, I meaning 1. Print I plus I meaning 2. And the next statement, that's increment. So because the I value is supposed to be increment, right? So I equal to I plus 1 and then a high Pallavi. So that is how it works. So in the same in the way, then the second time the I value would be 2. So once the I value would be um, second time, then how second time I value would be 2, and I is equal to I is I plus plus 2. Like, that is how it has been executed. And then every time, like, while I is not equal to here, yeah, next time I value would be 2. So 2 plus 2 4, and so that is how it is going to execute it. That 4 has been again that statement one after another. 2 plus 1, I value, what was the I value here? I value was 2, 2 plus 1 3, and it will just keep executing, and it will just keep executing. Then once the I value turns to 3, then 3 plus 3 and the 6, that is how it just keep executing. That is how the while loop works. How does the while loop works? Like, it will just keep executing, and in the first in the beginning of the condition, only in the beginning of the loop the condition will be given, and it will just, the entire statement which is next to the condition will just keep executing till the condition gets satisfied. Now we talk about the range. When we talk about the range, that is also another kind of, here basically we use the range for some kind of adding intervals or something, like how we have defined the range, and x equal to 2 is equal to 10, and if we try printing the y, then it is going to print the value 2 10 2, right? So here in loop you can understand how this range works. For a range value is 2 10 2, right? So, and that's the output actually, right? So for I in y, I value is 1, and it is going to access the each element in your y is the range which has been defined here, right? So it is going to add the value till the last occurrence, like it will 2 plus 2, likewise, like it will just keep adding till the last existence. So for I in y, I is less than y, in the sense y value is 10. You can just consider it, y value is the maximum value, which is here z, in the y value also you consider as 10. So it will just keep executing till with a 2 increment, like each time it will be adding 2 2, with a 2 interval it is going to add the value, and before it should be less than 10. So it has created this listing, and you can see that in this example as well. Like, you have to you don't have any interval defined here in this range, so it will just keep executing, and it should be less than 5. So 2 3 4, and this is the output for this. So in the list variable, this is not list actually, but we just for understanding, we have just written list, and in that the range has been aligned, and in that it is going to print the value one after another. right? Now we'll go for list comprehension. What is the list comprehension? List comprehension, it is another extended format. It is the extended format of the form of uh, list, basically, right? How does it work here? How does it work? Like in your list variable, it is just, not much difference. This is just extended form of that. In your list, you have, these are the elements, and one variable in that you have to uh, another list variable has been defined. That list you have to populate. How you going to populate that? The for loop. And for populating that, you must define the loop here. So for item in X, like for traversing each element in your list, you would be accessing for item in X. For item in X, once you access item, in the sense it will traverse 1, 10, 50, 55. Likewise, it is going to access each element. Then out dot append item plus 2. Item value is 1. 1 plus 2 means 3. 10 plus 2, 12. 5 plus 2, 12. 52 and 57. Likewise, the out value, the value which has been appended, that list is going to be populated, and that list you are going to print here. So print, that means the extent, the value which has been appended with the 2 increment, that has been populated here. That is how your list comprehension works here. Hope you got it. Is there any doubt around or any questions? No, right? So that is how your list comprehension works. Again, another example. These, the same thing can be done by other way. For each item in X, X is the list. In that, you are going to access each element with the 2 increment without writing or without populating the list, right? So with item plus 2 here, because this is just, you're populating the list, that is how it has been printed like this. But if you're not populating the list in this way, then you can write this way as well. Item plus 2, print item. So it is going to populate the value like this. And this is not the list. Take a note, this is not the list, and your list will be always printed in this format. So do not confuse. So don't be confused. Like, your list will be always in this form. So 3, 12, 52, 57, that is how your list will be printed. So, and there are some efficient features are there aligned. So if you are comfortable enough in terms of providing, in terms of using either of the way that you can use, there is not much difference. Objective for both syntax having same, but this looks, the second one looks more efficient because the memory management and all, and the faster processing, uh, and for efficient way we call that the second one, rather taking the data in list here, right? So another example, suppose we have a string, in that we have added the value hello 1 2 and x equal to string and print x. Then what value we can expect here? Let me print here and traverse through the string, and it has printed each element in your listing, right? A string, in the sense, a string we have printed here, and a string has been assigned to x, and when we print the x, your x is printed here like this, right? If we print string equal to hello 1 2, and if we put here x for x in, then each element in your string is going to be put as a separate string, or you can say it will be printed here as like, each particular character in your word, or a string will be taken as a string. So x of x, you are putting the loop here, x for x in a string. A string is a variable. X, x for x means accessing each element in your string, so it is going to print like this. Got it? So here again, string equal to hello 1 2, we are trying populating the list here for x in the string. For x, accessing the each element, y dot append x, y dot append x. Okay, so print y, print y. So it is going to print the each value in this way in a string format, taking each element as an individual string. Got it? On the in 26th statement I'm talking about. Any doubt? That is how your listing works. So let's connect in my next session to discuss more on the listing and other functions and other, some interesting topic. So just stay on. If you haven't subscribed my channel, kindly subscribe, like and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions around, you can just put your questions and queries around in comment section. So I would be happy to answer that. So till then, bye bye. Bye bye.